Hey guys, welcome to Nifty World. I'm Bex, and in today's video I'm speaking to Top Dog Beach Club about how they built an amazing community and how they're continuing to deliver beyond the boundaries of what you would expect. They are really setting the bar for what you should be doing if you are a new creator into the space and are thinking, how do I start creating a solid community that will be with me not just now but in the future as well. So make sure you stay tuned. Don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and of course follow me on Twitter, where you can join our weekly Twitter space where you can speak to lots of brilliant creators, ask any questions about NFTs that you have, and so much more. But for now, let's dive right in. Okay, so joining me now is Paul and Abby, two members of the fantastic Top Dog Beach Club, which is, I'm proud to say, a British NFT project, and the first British NFT project that I have actually interviewed here on Nifty World, and also a relative OG in the space as well, because you guys have actually launched your project 3 months ago. You've built up an incredible community. You've got like 22,000 members on your Instagram, on your Twitter, and then also 17,000 people on your Discord as well. So this has been quite the journey, quite the build up, and you guys just keep on delivering. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's lovely to speak to you and to hear a very similar accent to mine, first and foremost.
Thanks for having us. Glad to be here.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Bex.
No, my pleasure. It was really nice to kind of find you. I think I can't remember if I did a bit of a call out for Brits or if we just kind of coincidentally came across each other on Twitter. I'm not quite sure how that all happened, but whatever happened, I'm really grateful that you guys are here. And we're talking about community, and we're talking about actually pushing the boundaries of community today, because that is one of your strap lines on your webpage and your homepage. And I think that's a really interesting deep dive, because it's the most important thing, isn't it, when it comes to building any sort of community on here, is to make sure that you are doing that in the right way. And I know lots of people who are watching this video are going to be going, how do I build a really successful community? What are, the things that I should be doing? So you guys have obviously done it right so far, and you're continuing to do it. So we'll touch on that in just a moment. But the first thing I want to ask you guys is, what is Top Dog Beach Club all about?
Go on, Abby, ladies first.
Okay, thank you so much, Paul. Top Dog Beach Club is all about being awesome, basically. The whole idea is, you're top dog, you're chilling out on a beach, maybe with some sort of cigar in your mouth, because that's one of our attributes for the dog collection. So the narrative is the dogs are on an island. They've had enough of life with everyone else. I think we pitched it during COVID. So, they've had enough of COVID, so they just moved to an island. And it's all about just chill vibes. And we've developed the story since then, so that we have time traveling cats who have come onto the island to ruin everything for the dogs, and they've all got really grumpy faces.
Right.
So we thought about doing a companion, but rather than a companion, it's more of a villain that have actually just been minted. The mint closed yesterday. And yeah, that's where our narrative is developing. But in terms of what we're all about community, we're all about transparency. We're all about developing an awesome roadmap and creating that utility. We've made a bunch of charitable donations to causes for dogs, but also She's the First, for example, is a charity to do with girls' rights across the world. We've got a game zone where people are they can play games to have prizes, including Lego Lambos, which I think is my favorite thing that we've given out so far. A Lego Lambo.
A Lego, as in like a Lego Lamborghini.
Literally,
yeah. So
that's amazing.
We kept saying to you before, when Lambo, and I didn't know what they were talking about, but I thought, got to get a Lambo in there, haven't we?
That's insane. I love that. And so you guys, look, I'm going to touch on the fact that it's very well known that this space is quite dominated by our friends across the pond in the US. And, they are the ones that have kind of really kick-started this. And for you guys to have launched 3 months ago, this would position you firstly as Brits as incredibly early into this space. What got you guys excited about NFTs? What got you to go, not only just maybe you're interested in collecting, but then actually to take that leap and go, hang on a sec, I think we need to create a project here?
Yeah, for me, so if only watching, my background's technical. I'm a software developer, and Abby is the artist. She's done all the art for the dogs and the cats and everything for the whole project, in fact. And she's my sister-in-law in real life. And I got started in the NFT space January, February this year, so not that long ago, relatively, especially to other people who started joining in 2017, 2018. But it was just sort of me doing my own thing in NFTs, sort of doing some generative art, in making some planets and things and really cool stuff. And then I just thought, oh, who do I know as an artist? Obvious choice was Abby. And then it interested me because this infusion of tech with the blockchain and the smart contracts and the Web3 stuff, and then combining it with the art. I don't know, it just seemed like a perfect fit and a perfect mix, and it just grown from there, really, didn't it? Abby had no idea what I was on about. I think I called you up one day and, Abby, we need to get on these NFTs. We need to start creating some dogs or some cats or something. She's like, what?
Well, I don't know how else other people react when you tell them about NFTs. I mean, I don't know if other people kind of have their own stories with the first time they heard about an NFT, but I don't know if anybody really gets it. Yeah, it's hard to get your head around, isn't it? Paul just contacted me one day and said, oh, you're really good at art. Have you seen this new thing, NFTs? And I had to Google it and Google it again and Google it again, and then call him like, what is this then? I tried a couple of things myself, a few mini projects just to kind of test the waters, which were, went quite well. But I think ultimately the two of us pairing up has been an amazing combo. And what we've managed to achieve together, I think, is far beyond anything we could have achieved alone.
Yeah, gosh. And do you know what? You guys have achieved so much. And I know that you did a lot of planning, you've worked really hard. I really love the fact that you're drinking a cup of tea, because we couldn't be more British on this. Anyone that's watching. But also, the success of this probably did exceed your expectations, didn't it? Because we're, that long ago, nobody really knows how anyone's going to take to any of this. I mean, let's look at kind of where the mint was and where you guys are now. Like, what was the mint price that you guys initially set?
So that's a really interesting, I guess, story around the community, because when we launched about 3 months, 2 weeks ago, I think. And at that time, before that time, we was obviously working on the project for 2 months prior. And at the time, Gutter Cats weren't out. I think Bored Apes was only the biggest one, and a few other projects starting to come out. And the standard was a 0.08 ETH mint price and a 10,000 supply in the collection. And then as we was building it and as we was sort of developing the community, we didn't quite release just yet, but everybody in the community was saying 10,000 is now too much. You can't do 10,000. You should do lower. I think it was 2 weeks before we released, Gutter Cats came out, and they were the first ones to do 3,000 supply.
Right.
And everyone, I'm pretty sure they were the first collection roll to sell out pretty instantly. So everyone was like, oh no, you need to do less than 10,000, less than 10,000. So we sent like a vote around our community that was building at the time, and we said, should we decrease the supply but increase the price, or decrease to this, increase that, and lots of different options. And the winning outcome that the community voted on, I think it was like 80% of the community agreed to reduce the supply to 8,000 but increase the price to 0.1 ETH.
Oh wow.
And and actually we thought that's not what we've said. So in the end, we decreased the supply from 10,000 to 8,000, but then stuck to the 0.08 mint price, because we just thought it wasn't fair to ask for more from what we already said originally.
Yeah.
So essentially the community voted to decrease the supply. So,
yeah, and that's a really interesting point about how early do you bring the community in and start making those kind of all important decisions. But where you sit is probably, from a mint price now looking at it, is kind of at the top end of that general range. 0.05 to 0.08 is kind of standard for that. And I think, beyond that, suddenly people won't feel like it's as accessible. And yes, your community may have said, no, keep it at 0.1, but actually that makes a big difference. Plus gas prices, on top of that might have, cut a lot of people out of the process altogether. So it's quite interesting. And it probably would have been slower for people to have seen, you know, a rise in return as well on that. So I think it's a smart move of a combination of speaking to your community, but also trusting your gut in terms of what's right for them as well. Do you remember when you were sort of having those conversations pre-mint, kind of what size your community was at the time?
Ooh, it wasn't huge. I'm going to say less than 1,000 people at that time.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe 1,500.
And at what point did you kind of start to see the community sort of take off? And do you attribute that to anything that particular that you did that kind of changed the game for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we did at the time, it's quite more common now, but at the time, 4 months ago, we made the conscious decision. So our ethos is openness and transparency, and everything we do is communicated constantly with the community. Communicated constantly with the community. That's a tongue twister. And what we built around that is the team itself are consciously putting themselves out there. So with our faces, our profiles, the whole team, all 6 of us are on the website. You can see where we're about. You can see what we look like. And yeah, it's quite uncommon at the time. I think it's more common now. But I think because we have sort of put ourselves in that vulnerable position, it builds this credibility and this accountability with the community. Mm-hmm. So the very foundations of our community is built on that and trust. And I think that has massive help with our growth. And I think even you guys just being on this video, you know, there's lots of projects that I've interviewed for Nifty World, and actually, you know, it's the first time that they've shown their faces. You know, it's like a big reveal. And I think what you like, authenticity and transparency is absolutely key to any community, so that they have that trust level. Abby, were you sharing any of the artwork to the community early on before you guys minted, just to kind of get a feel for what people thought?
I think, yeah, that's what we tend to do, is a little bit closer to the time of mint, we do drop some teasers and you know, see what people think. And actually something we did do was we asked for pictures of people's dogs that they posted in Discord or on Twitter, and I actually took some of the, I was going to say attributes of their dogs, but they're real dogs. Remember, it's real world stuff. Not everything has an attribute.
What, you mean we don't live in the metaverse full time? What?
So we actually took some of the features of those images and made them into attributes in the NFTs. So for example, PO from NFT Culture, another show, we used his dog's scarf. His dog's called Sapphire. We had a wooden bow tie from another member of our community we thought was really cool. We actually decided to take one of the dog's ears and make a Frenchie dog, because actually they're originally based on pugs, but they started to look a little bit like bulldogs or something like that. So we just kind of said pushy face dogs in the end. But then we actually added the French ears as an attribute as well. So the French bulldog was in there. So actually the project itself, the attributes and the art and the decisions made behind it were very heavily based in the community and their dogs and their opinions.
And as you guys have moved forward, you know, you've talked about the cats now and, like, you know, the villains and things that you've brought in, like, is that, again, you're continuing that trait of just involving the community, and, you know, actually if they don't like something, are you actively changing it just to make sure that they're completely happy all the way through?
Absolutely. We've even got a top dog council. There's a separate channel in Discord, and there's elected members from each pack, because our community is broken up into 4 packs. Each dog is allocated a pack, and you know, if we've got any questions, we want to know how people feel about something, we often approach them and they can share their opinions. So yeah, it's constant communication with the community through the council, but also Paul and I and the rest of the team are on Discord every day, constantly talking to people, taking part in things, listening to people.
And how much of that do you actually need to drive? Like, I've spoken to other creators who say the community just suddenly come up with, like, they're sharing photos of them doing this, and that spurs on an idea for us to kind of, you know, create this other direction, like, you know, building on the narrative. How much of that is kind of driven by you guys versus the community, would you say?
Well, there's actually a good story around there, isn't it? Around the narrative of what we have at the minute, because there's this one guy in our community called Joe, and Top Dogs was his first ever NFT.
Right.
So, and he brought this dog. I think it was quite an expensive dog. It had VR goggles, and he was transferring. He bought the dog, I think, on his MetaMask, and then he wanted to transfer it to his hardware wallet, and he accidentally put in the wrong address to transfer it to. So instead of going to his wallet, his other wallet, he transferred it to our smart contract. And when that happens, it basically means the NFT, the dog, gets stuck, and he doesn't own it anymore. It's just stuck. It's owned by nobody. So he lost the dog, and he was really upset because it's his first time he's ever done this. The dog's name was Jason, and because that happened, we then developed that into our narrative and our story. And the whole reason these cats are here is because Jason basically went through this portal, and he essentially opened the portal for these cats to come in. And we've got this old comic book as well around how that plays out. It's really, really cool. So yeah, we take those elements from the community and build it into the narrative.
That's great. But what happened? Really what about the guy that lost the NFT?
Oh yeah, we couldn't do anything. It's just literally gone. So I think we sent him another dog, right? I'm pretty sure we sent him another dog for that.
Yeah, we gave him Jason's cat as well, because when people were claiming their cats, they'd get the same token ID as the dog that they were claiming them against. So even though Jason is lost to us all, sadly, the cat with the corresponding token ID went to Joe, and we actually have a channel for that as well, or thread or something on Discord. RIP Jason. There's some very sad messages on there.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, count yourselves back like 6 to 8 months ago. Did you ever think that this would be your life?
Constantly drawing animals, Abby, and I'm just talking about dogs and cats. I have a running joke with my wife. Every time I go to work, I'm like, I'm going dogging now. Roll her eyes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, between like, you know, drawing dogs and then running like RIP threads for lost digital dogs, it's just such an odd thing. And I'm pretty sure for another 6 to 8 months, the majority of the world won't even get it why you do this. I mean, in your real lives, I suppose I have to ask, your real life community, does anyone get what you do? Do they think you're mad?
Well, yeah. I'm quite lucky because obviously Abby is my sister-in-law. I know her, but then also we've got Pete, Jakob, and Andrew on the team who are all devs, and they're my best friends in real life. So we're all just one big family, and they get it, obviously.
Yeah.
But my wife sort of gets it now, but yeah, anybody else is just what?
It blows their minds, doesn't it? And I think, you know, more for them and yay to us for that advantage, because when they do catch up, it will be very, very far down the line. So you guys will be one of those big blue chip NFTs by that point. And, you know, it's one of those really exciting things for being so early into the space and doing such a great job. One of the things that I love seeing your roadmap, I love that you give back to doggy charities and all that kind of stuff, which is great. Where are you in terms of delivering on that roadmap at this stage?
The first roadmap we've completed, apart from the big one, which is the beach parties, one in Europe and one in America. For obvious reasons, we want to make sure everything's okay with COVID so far. And we actually wanted to travel to New York for the NFT conference around the start of November. And we're still not clear whether we can go or not. So I think planning 2 huge beach parties would be a mistake at this point, so we're just holding off on that.
So we launched roadmap 2 last week, a few days ago last week, which is super exciting, and one of the biggest things on there is one of our tokens called Snax, which we released as part of roadmap 1, but this is just building on and creating the value.
Because I wanted to speak to you about Snax, because it's so you get like Snax when you mint, so that's an immediate added value, is that right? And then every day that you hold your dog, your NFT, you get 10. Is it 10 a day? Like, how does this work, and what does it translate into, the Snax?
So original mint of the dogs, you would get 420 Snax. But I think they're pretty much all gone now. They've all been claimed because our mint was 3 months ago. But yeah, now every day you hold a dog, you get 10 Snax per day, per dog, or per cat you hold. At the minute, so we launched that 3 months ago when we originally launched. And then now other projects have followed suit. So Subducks, Bored Apes are now doing their own token. A lot of other projects are also following suit. So now, as part of the roadmap, we're adding value to the Snax, because before you just sort of accumulated them. You can spend them to rename your dog or give your dog a backstory. But other than that, there wasn't really any other sort of value for them. So now we're going to be, I guess, just building on that and deeply integrating it into the Top Dog ecosystem and into the community and into our game zone, so you can win Snax. We've got a Pokemon style PvP game coming out soon, and you'll be able to sort of bet Snax and wager on like, not what's the word we're using, Abby? I don't want to use the word fights, dog fights. That's a bad word.
No, we don't want to say dog fights.
Dog battles.
The outcomes of the battles, yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to make them friendly, aren't we? Instead of, biting each other's faces off, they're just going to be like doing fun moves against each other, like the pickle attack, for example, if the dog's got a pickle in its mouth.
Yeah.
How do you come up with all this stuff? It's crazy. Is it like hours of late night brainstorming?
That's all we do. Like we sit here thinking of crazy ideas, and we're constantly messaging each other, and 95% of it is nonsense, but in there there's a gem in there somewhere, so we just keep firing them away.
Do you share that kind of brainstorming with your community as well?
I think when we get to a certain point in an idea, then we do, and the community are always sharing ideas with us, and like I said, we've got the council, but I don't think we just throw out every single raw idea. I think we do need to keep some of it a bit close to our chest as well, just to make sure that we have an advantage and somebody doesn't copy us before we kind of get started with it. But in terms of our roadmap, we've got Snax, but also the Launchpad is something we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Anything more you can kind of sort of tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of the Launchpad is that we're essentially a business, right? We have this income stream of we take 5% of royalties. So every time a dog or a cat sells, we get the 5%. That's it's sort of one stream, and if the collection stops selling tomorrow, then the business is essentially dead. The idea with the Launchpad is to generate other revenue streams and then just make sure that it's less risk for the business, and it can have a future, and everything we've envisioned is going to come to fruition. So the whole idea with the Launchpad is that we would help other artists, other brands, creators wanting to navigate this space, not quite sure what it's about, but they want to take advantage of it and they want to launch their own collection. So we would also, I guess, we'd give out our tech, give out our time, our advice, our expertise within the teams, and help them launch their own. And in return, we'd get a percentage of their mint or a percentage of their royalties, which get fed back into the business, fed back into the community itself. We'd get priority whitelisting access for these new projects. And also another big one, which I'm really excited about, is we're going to be helping charities on a pro bono basis, like, to take advantage of this space as well, and have it as use the NFTs for them as an extra revenue stream for them as well. I think it's going to be really, really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that the way you're working with the community on sort of guiding and educating them, because it's kind of like they grow, you grow, the community grows. That's kind of how that model seems to be working, and it's very different, because what I'm seeing quite a lot now is a community wallet is the way that a lot of them are giving back to, a lot of projects are giving back to the community. So they'll spend money on those kind of blue chips, and like maybe buy an ape or a V-friend or something like that, and then that gets fractionalized across the community. Is that something that you guys are potentially going to explore as well, or are you just very focused on what this Launchpad is and keeping it kind of down that route?
It's something we've certainly discussed, but it's nothing that we've made a solid decision on yet. We are all about community, and I say time and time again that this is what we're here for every day, is to deliver for our community. People have essentially invested in our business and shown that they believe in us. We put our names and faces to that. So we're here to deliver value back to everybody, so that they get value, monetary value, but also value in their experiences. The community wallet is something that's been discussed, but I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of do that. So through the game zone,
Yeah.
we have 2 play to earn games at the minute that are live, and people, we were speaking about this just before, went live, Bex. People can win prizes, and if one of those prizes is ETH, so we take I think it's 10%, maybe 15% of our royalties that get fed back into that prize pot, and we've given away, I don't know, $30,000 or something in the last 2 months, and then they can also win NFTs. Somebody won a I don't know if you've heard of impermanent digital NFT, but some of those are now worth like 5, 6, 7 ETH.
Right.
We've given away iPads, like physical iPads, physical Lego Lambos, loads of different prizes. So we are feeding back.
That's what I'd want to win.
Yeah, I know. I know. So we're feeding back in that sense, rather than just there's some money over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I suppose, you know, is that how you define kind of pushing the boundaries of community in a way? You're doing things, I think, very different. There's kind of a standard trajectory for a lot of utility driven NFTs, but you guys seem to be sort of going, yeah, I see what everyone's doing, but actually we're going to do things a little bit different. And, you know, it's a risk in itself to do things differently, but it seems to be working.
Yeah, one of the biggest one I think that we're doing differently is the metaverse. A lot of projects will be buying land in Sandbox for like 30, 40, 50, 60,000 pounds, which is insane. Like virtual land, it's insane to me. But from our experiences, we don't really quite think the metaverse is there yet. It's good to play around in. It's definitely going to go there. That's the direction we're going. We just don't think it's quite there yet. It doesn't make for a great experience in my view, in the team's view. So we're positioning ourselves about real world events and real world experiences. So we, a couple of weeks ago, we hosted our own pop-up gallery in London on Oxford Street. We had 80, 90 people come down. It's really, really fun. We're doing goat karting in 4 weeks, I think, in Kent. So loads of people are coming down. We're going to do like a Grand Prix, and that was free for anybody who owns a Top Dog. We've just launched our community event fund. So there's $30,000 where the community can apply to run their own event across the world. We've got events in Copenhagen, New York. I think that's it for now, but people can, you know, ask for an investment from the team. Yeah. I want £1,000 to go to the pub and get pissed up. Okay, fine. There you go. Yeah, I think it's just about those real world experiences. I think that's what makes the difference to us, at least.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's quite easy to forget in such a digital world about the fact that there is this kind of blurring into real life, and how do we make that leap? Because we're never going to not exist in real life. Like the metaverse and everything is always going to be there. It's like, how does it work together to make things,
yeah,
you know? And I know, like the Bored Apes, like there was a London-based Bored Apes meetup recently, which everyone else got massive FOMO on, and it's actually quite nice to suddenly see these people who speak your language, get what you're talking about, understand, and can geek out with you, to just kind of come together. And I think that's what it's kind of all about. Like these Zoom chats are lovely, but actually there's nothing quite, especially after the year or 2 years that we've had, there's nothing quite like meeting up in real life. So I can see why you're putting the importance on that. Is that something going forward? Like if you're looking back at all the utilities that you are driving for your community, could Top Dog Beach Club exist in any other way, or does it have to keep delivering on this level? Could you slow things down a bit, or is it because of the pace of the NFT space that you're thinking, God, we've just got to keep delivering and delivering and delivering?
I don't think we're at a point where we think we want to be slowing down. I don't know if we'll ever reach that point, really. I mean, it's our job. I was going to say it's our 9 to 5, but it's not 9 to 5. Definitely, it's a lot more than that.
It's more like 8 till 2 or something.
It's not 24/7.
I liked hearing. So this is off air. Was that you guys, particularly the two of you, work in a kind of ships in the night thing where you know, because Abby, you've got a little one. So Paul, you'll be working up until, you're a bit of a night owl, so you'll work up until 2 or 3 a.m. and it's almost like hand the baton over to Abby as she has to wake up at that time, and then it's like this 24-hour rotation. It's quite the commitment, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it doesn't even leave you when you do go to sleep. For me personally, you know, I'm thinking about it all the time, always trying to think of ideas or how we move forward. Then I go to sleep for a bit. I wake up in the night automatically every night for some reason, and I think, don't check your phone, don't do it. And it, you know, I end up checking it, and you just have like a little phone checking shift in the middle of the night when I'm supposed to be asleep as well, because it's, there's time has no meaning in the NFT world. It's you sleep and you miss something, don't you?
It's crazy, particularly because our wonderful friends across the pond are so active when we're asleep even. And I've mentioned this in a few videos before, but it is the way this space is evolving is like, a day is like a week is like a month, and it's like just moving so fast that the FOMO is absolutely real. So it's I can completely understand that. And I think from me as a collector and educator level, it's like at here, but I can only imagine for developing and having to deliver the whole time on Discord, like you have to learn and teach yourself and grow and then deliver at the same time. Like, it must feel quite overwhelming for you guys at times.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a collector myself, and since Top Dog, I've just not had the opportunity to look into any other projects, so I'm missing out collecting myself. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I didn't realize before even starting Top Dog, like how much time and effort actually goes into a project like this behind the scenes, because you've got to just constantly be on it. Like, just I wish it would slow down. I wish we could slow down, but I don't think we should. Not yet, anyway. I was going to see Abby
just want a day off. Just one day.
Yeah, it's like you can't even take a holiday because you've got to think, is the Wi-Fi going to work there? Am I going to be able to bring my kit? Like, it's kind of that, isn't it?
I said to you off air, Bex, just before, like I just literally come back from holiday. I was like 5 days in Spain, and even then I was just checking my phone constantly, and I did a bit of work on the flight. And it's never stopping.
Not only that, we actually ended up setting up a meeting or two during his holiday when we agreed beforehand. I kept saying, Paul, just stay off your phone, don't worry, everything's fine. But he ended up like in meetings, and he just doesn't stop.
This is kind of the great entrepreneurial kind of like when you're all in on a project, as you guys are, it is all consuming at the same time. So this is very digital, and lots of other businesses, it's like you're physically there doing it, and you guys are, I completely get it, right? And I think a lot of people stepping into this space and wanting to be creators and wanting to learn from what you're talking about today will kind of understand that from, that people will not go all in on this unless they have that entrepreneurial spirit and are willing to risk it all for this, because you've got to 110% believe in this project to make it work. It's not going to be a flash in the pan rug pull, unless that's where you're going to go. Unfortunately there are more and more of those, but that's something that we're hoping that will kind of subside over time. But it's I get it, and I understand why that is important for you. I mean, how long do you guys think that you will be in this space for? Like, that's a really difficult question. I get it, like how long's a piece of string, but if you had a timeline for Top Dog and thought, oh, this is a 5-year project, or this is like 10 years, or this is the rest of our lives, where does it sit for you guys?
I don't see a time frame on it. I mean, we'll always have people who have invested, and we'll always need to and want to deliver something for them. So no matter what, whether we're on an up or on a down, we need to be here working on this project in whatever form we can do. I mean, Paul, have you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, look, the NFT space sits in crypto, and there's going to be horrible days, weeks, months where nothing's trading, and we go into a massive bear market, and they're going to be horrible. They're going to be absolutely horrible, and we've not experienced that yet. And that's one of the reasons why we're diversifying our income streams from a business point of view, is that so we have that longevity. For me, this is a decade vision of building a brand. And just in generally, if you think about NFTs, like our project is an art collectible project, which is just a tiny portion of it. NFTs are not going anywhere. No. It's going to be in property. It's going to be in linking physical assets. Art's just a tiny fraction of it. And as we said earlier, Bex, we're, it's the meme now. We're still so early.
Yeah.
We have 500,000, 600,000 wallets. I think unique. I mean, I have 10 wallets myself. So the actual number of people actively trading NFT is probably less than 200,000. And for us to get the next 200,000, next million, the next 10 million, we've just got to keep pushing, keep building, keep creating. And when those bad times do come, and they're going to come, it's just getting your heads down and building and creating and
looking after your community.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's about, looking after the community and just constantly delivering that value and driving that value.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, and you absolutely speak total sense. And I think it's for anyone that's a collector out there that looks to you guys as the project they want to invest in, is that they need that kind of reassurance that even in a bear market, you know, you'll still be there and you're not going to kind of go, when the going gets tough, we're off. And I think that's, you know, again, one of these things about being transparent and building that trust is to remind people that we'll all get through that together, because it's inevitable that it's going to happen. I suppose just to kind of round off this interview, I suppose for anyone that's kind of stepping into this space, because I'm sure this video will exist as long as, like, you know, as the community grows, so people will be looking back to this and kind of going, right, so I'm just starting. Right, where do I go from here? How do I build this community? What can I keep delivering? If you look back over your long 3 months since your drop, and even before that, what are your biggest learnings, and what would you give as advice for anyone wanting to do what you guys have done?
Well, Bex, you've got to come and join the Top Dog Launchpad.
Well, there we go.
There we go. Getting on brand there. I'm not giving away my
secrets. Dog then. Yeah, because I think it's Abby, go ahead, because I think it's a really important thing for someone to kind of know where to even begin with all of this.
I think you need to start off in a really honest place. I think you need to be honest firstly with yourselves about what it is that you're doing. You're not creating a bunch of pictures and selling them for a load of money and then just walking away. I think that is probably the impression that a lot of people get when they start out.
Quick flip.
You also need to think about what kind of commitment this is and how long term it is and how many hours of your day it's going to take up. But also you need to be honest with your community and with the NFT space, that you just need to be yourself, be honest, don't do anything that you wouldn't want anybody to know about, and then you can't go wrong. You know, if you promise, you know, people are going to 10x their ETH in a few days and you don't deliver, people are obviously going to be annoyed. Or if you try and cover something up, they will find out. You know, if you can honestly show your face. I know not everybody can do that. There's a lot of people that I really respect that choose not to do that. But if you can just give, you know, just be as honest as you possibly can be and do everything from a good place, then I don't think you can go wrong. And I think people genuinely recognize that. There's a lot of FUD out there, and there's a lot of trolls, and there's a lot of negativity, and we know that all exists on social media, and we expected a lot more of it, and we've hardly had anything, because I think people can see that we are doing everything in the most genuine way. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, you know, that's one of the reasons why I reached out and was like, guys, this is you're doing things right. I want to speak to you so you can share that knowledge and advice, and you guys have been brilliant today, so I really appreciate it. I wish you guys all the success for the future, the long-term future, not just the next few years. You guys are in this for the long haul, which is really great to see. And, you know, I hope we stay in touch as well, so we can kind of capture all those great milestones that you guys keep delivering on. And from another Brit in the space to you guys, I think it's wonderful to see, you know, how this is growing from the UK perspective as well. And you guys are doing a brilliant job leading the charge. So thank you very much. Wow, what an amazing interview with an incredible project that knows how to use those all-important utilities to make sure that they continually deliver for their community, not just now, but many, many years into the future as well. I hope you will support them, because they definitely deserve your support. Plus, also, don't forget to support this channel by liking this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and of course, hit that all-important notification bell. And if you can, then join our Twitter space each and every Monday, where we talk all things NFTs and answer all of your questions. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.